presents today exceptional guests in the house, the Mystic Midway folks, the founders, producers of the most amazing, surprising, colorful, vivid events in San Francisco, Scott Lefkoff and Marty Kaplan. Thank you so much for coming over.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Oh, it's great
And
to be
for
here.
bringing such interesting element of decor. I remember first seeing you at Mission Control, early 2000s. I heard about you more and more frequently in the past 6 years. And the Mystic Midway is on everybody's lips, especially last year. Burning Man picked up on the idea. How did that come about? What is the Mystic Midway tradition specifically about? What is your take on it?
The Mystic Midway is an immersive theater project that mixes realities in service of giving players and participants magical, mystical experiences.
Yeah, we create immersive environments as events, and we drop into lots of different events. And as you'll see a little later in the show, we've been all over the country and sometimes the world, sort of making amazing experiences where people really connect. That's what we like to do.
And historically, what is the Midway?
Well, the Midway is the part of a circus or carnival where the rides and the sideshows and the games would occur, and you're going to run into characters and other guests at the carnival. And I like the metaphor of the Midway as a sort of an intersection, which is kind of another way that I like to use it. So an intersection for all sorts of worlds and characters and themes and all kinds of play and interaction. Which is a big reason why we use it.
Yeah, exactly. And we feel like it's an interdimensional space. It's a liminal space. Halfway between here and there is Midway.
And more recently, you had an experiment out in the field, in the city. Tell us a little bit more about what the Midwayville concept is and where you guys are at with that particular experiment.
Well, Midwayville was Mystic Midway's first unique dedicated offering for the public in San Francisco. We held it at Soma Street Food Park, and we played for 3 consecutive Fridays to over 1,000 people.
Right.
And it was a completely immersive theatrical environment with our amazing Midwayville ensemble, and we had games, social games, shows, and guests would interact with characters, earning story currency, and then they would spend their story currency on unlocking features of the park and leveling up the park. So the whole experience played like a live-action video game.
Right.
And so everything in the park was based on participation with the guests, interacting with the characters, unlocking shows and content, and leveling up in their quest for the Goldfire.
Do you have that currency in every manifestation of your recent shows, or is this like a specifically Midwayville element?
The story currency, or the story bucks as we're now calling them, we came up with the convention for Stories of Gold Edwardian Ball this year at the Regency in January, and then we took it down to LA for Edwardian Ball down south, and then it worked so effectively, and it was really such a wonderful tool for kind of eliciting response and play and participation with the guests that we've really adopted it now as sort of a core game mechanic for social interaction. Things don't work, we chuck them out, but the story currency really works, so we're going to really adopt this moving forward.
Well, it certainly is a very efficient icebreaker.
Icebreaker, exactly.
And this bill here is a wonderful example of it.
That's a testimony to the artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the amazing artists we work with. We worked with Lee Harvey Roswell on this edition. We had character work from Nico Salazar on the new Midwayville currency. Marty did some of the layout. Rachel Gray did some of the layout. My friend Becca, she worked on some of the fonts. So these fonts are hand-drawn. They're not actually taken, from offline. So we just love bringing art to represent the spirit.
Extraordinary
of the Midway.
graphics. There's mention of a board game in some of your press release or announcements, or I think it also was part of the metaphor that you were going after in the Midwayville. Is there a board game coming out from Scott Lefkoff?
Absolutely. We've been working on sort of a home game version of the Midway now for several years. And part of what we're doing with the live events is playtesting the mechanics and the characters and the narratives that will all go into the products that people can buy. So people can throw their own Mystic Midway parties, their own events,
I see.
anywhere, yeah. And these cards are kind of the first one of the first elements of the home game that we've been working on.
Playing
Yep.
like they would play Monopoly.
Yeah, we
Or will
have
they-
a table board version created by Ted Nafee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
first iteration.
Yeah, and one thing that we try and do with the Midway is really have a microcosm, macrocosm element to it, where the board that you'll have at home, you'll also encounter at the live event. The characters come to life at the event in various scales, and then at home, they're your little pieces that you use. And then we these are really tool sets to connect with your friends. A lot of times you'll get a board game and it's only got one game in it.
Right.
The stuff that we have for our home experience is using cards, using a board. You use the money. You use small trinkets. There's various levels of items that let you play different games with different sort of focus about what you're exploring together, whether you're just doing something light and fun, or you're actually going to go deep and really have a meaningful investigation into some aspect of, your shadow or something like that with your friends.
Right.
It's really all about stories.
And about immersion and breaking that third wall. Can you explain a little bit more what the special elixir ingredients are when it comes to drawing a crowd in, being a new kind of game?
Well, the Midway is really dedicated to each participant and each player as a hero on their own journey. And all the characters and all the mechanics of everything that we do are in service of the guests, of the players. Our ensemble, the Mystic Midway Ensemble, our performers, they represent mirror or an inquiry to the guests as heroes on a journey. And the guests might not even know that they were looking for something until they find something like, oh, I made this discovery. I just realized something. This is wonderful. And then they get to share that, and they get to take that with them into their lives. So that's very much one of the elements that we're really dedicated to.
Right.
Yeah.
How large is the community? Because the Mystic Midway is a nonprofit organization of artists, designers, all sorts of skills involved. How large is that community group at the moment in terms of active participants in the core group?
So the Mystic Midway is affiliated with Independent Arts and Media. Just a shout out to Independent Arts and Media. Woo!
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And we are a community of probably around 100 folks now. We have a core community of about 50 or 60 that we're working with, artists, makers and builders and performers and graphic artists. And they're really, they're just amazing people. And their passion and their skill and their artistry are really responsible for the quality of experience that guests encounter when they come into the Midway. Midwayville is such an example of that. And we worked with Paradox Pollock, who's our ensemble director from LA, and he really brought the whole project to another level.
The show is currently suspended for a few weeks, but it'll be back towards the end of the summer. What is the
We were on
prediction?
hiatus searching for sponsorship to keep tickets low to the public. So we're currently looking for sponsors.
Oh, we're looking for both commercial marketing type sponsors who want to do awesome marketing activations in the park and be a part of the game, have their product be part of the game or their company be mentioned on the banners and that kind of stuff. Or we can take charitable donations that are purely philanthropic, and we will shout out, of course, the donors in that way. So we can do both. Really, we need to get a few on board, and then we will be able to launch Midwayville again with even more interesting innovations based on the experimentation and results we got from the first 3 shows.
And you guys do also corporate events off-site.
Yeah, we have our first corporate party experience with UX Week coming up on August 9th at Summer Street Food Park. So that'll be our first inaugural Midwayville offering for a corporate client, which we're really
Excellent.
excited about.
Well, let's watch a little bit of that video.
Come one, come all. Ladies and gentlemen, roll up, and come away. Worlds of mystery and wonder awaits in the Midway.
Well, guests are being invited to share their thoughts on the peril and promise of new technology with the Sonic Mirror in the Miracula. Yeah, this is one of our first custom offerings for the producers of the Augmented World Expo down at the Santa Clara Convention Center. This was about three and a half years ago. And we were investigating the promise and peril of new technology. So that was the inquiry here for this experience that we created for the Augmented World Expo, in which we featured augmented content. So posters and cards you can see here. Guests are using an app that allows them to see projected hologram characters, i.e. Pokemon Go, which uses AR technology.
It's the same technology as in that.
Yep, same technology. Yeah.
And you guys have within your team that sort of capability.
Yes, when we can do it. We were sponsored by Met.io, who were kind enough to give us the software that let us do it. We also have drones. That is a airship that is a helium balloon guided by a drone. So
the power of stories.
The power of stories. Sorry, of course.
Fueled by the power of stories.
Because it only flew when the wishes of those who participated in the event. Were loaded on board and lifted it up.
Powered the Mysticon Codex, which you see here, this strange lucite sculptural pyramid.
Yes.
That was top projected, and it came to life, and all the pieces came together. The guests would explore the environment, find the pieces of the Mysticon Codex, which were fueled with their stories. They'd assemble it, and the energy would go into the airship, the Wonder, and the Wonder would sail around the hall of Santa Clara.
It's always about storytelling, right? Whether you have an old-fashioned book or the latest app, if you don't have any content or story, then people don't relate or engage with it. Tell us a little bit more about your stories. Scott, Marty, where I guess come from in this production vision? What feeds you?
Well, that's a question. Where's the story when we met?
Oh well, we met at a vampire ball.
It's like 1995.
Long ago.
Yeah.
Basically, Scott and I met and just knew that I needed to know him because he had a performance at this vampire ball called, what was it called?
Court of the Black Lotus.
The Court of the Black Lotus, and it was just incredible. Like never seen anything like it. Costume characters, doing a show that was just equal parts creepy and gorgeous. It was just great. So we hit it off and started working together, doing a lot of different things. Carnamundi comes to mind, which was a multi-week run that happened at the Anon Salon back in the day. Even that informs what we do even today, I think.
Carnival Funhouse.
Yeah.
So the Anon Salon was one of the triggers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that was at the old Folsom.
Yeah, shout out to Joe and
location?
Marcia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I worked with them. I started working with them in 1990.
Yeah.
At the Glass House parties, at the 5 Foot Tongue parties.
Yeah.
Inspired by Mark Petrakis, Cobra Lounge. Remember that?
But professionally, like in default reality, I'm a video game producer. So I run video game teams and make games.
And you inject that technology in this world, in the interactive version of the game. That is your contribution to it?
It's so fluid. I mean, we've been working together for so long. It's hard to say. But really, the interesting stuff that always happens when it's a combination of traditional theatrical, amazing spectacle, and the technology that supports that.
Right.
Like, it's
the
people
form and the contents.
and then the technology. It's an opera, basically. It's a omnivorous media.
Well, anything that inspires and gives people permission to step into the story and to become part of the narrative. That is one of our goals.
And here we're watching Edwardian Bowl scenes from Mark Day's video. So that's another element that enabled your explosion these past 3-4 years, is the experiments at the Edwardian Ball.
Yeah, we're very grateful to Justin Katz and Mike Gaines and all the crew at the Edwardian Ball that they've been allowing us to experiment with our weirdo brand of social theater up there now at in the lodge, and each year it changes, it morphs, it evolves, and that's been a big part of the origin story of the Midway. Oh, there's one of our airships flying around.
Yeah.
the Wonder flying around the hallway. So yeah, shout out to Edwardian Ball.
And then you have an event coming up at the Westerfeld, a Russian Embassy House, another San Francisco classic, where some Kenneth Anger film was shot.
Part of Loose Horizon was shot.
That's right, where that lion claw mark is
Yeah,
still
Anton
present.
LaVey's Tiger.
Are you going to play on that historical heritage of the house for that event coming up Saturday the 30th of July, right?
Yeah, I'd like to think that we're keeping the magic alive, you know?
Yeah.
We're very grateful to Jimmy Siegel,
Yeah.
who's the owner of the Westerfeld, for making it available to us as a fundraiser to help keep Mystic Midwayville alive. And we're going to be producing an immersive experience for guests, the lucky few that come. We have a few tickets left. It's immersive theater and entertainment with Trixie Carr, Honey Bunny, Sean Lee, JD, Limelight, Dangerous Puppets, Larissa Archer, Daniel Briggs. Like, it's a whole magical potpourri, and it's like kind of in honor of Midsummer and just preserving the creative magic.
Also, we were talking about your presentation at a tech event in August.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that. When is it? What is it?
It's the UX Week
UXweek.com.
conference. Yeah, so go to uxweek.com and get your tickets. We're going to be doing a lecture at the end of the event, and we're going to open the
August
event
12th?
with the party. So
August 9th.
we'll sort of do some fun stuff at the party for the Midwayville game system. And we are innovating again with a game system that will be taken by the attendees through their entirety of the rest of the conference. And then at our lecture, we will summarize and talk about what happened over that time.
And yeah, and be like, hey, did this work? Did it not work? Because they're experienced designers.
Right.
So we're like, hey, what worked? What didn't work? Like,
Right.
it's such an exciting opportunity.
And how do you live the juggling between like the old school San Francisco and the new tech industry? You're right in the middle of that game. How do you live it? What is your hope and dream for the collaboration between these two factions?
Well, we're dancing on the edge of a razor right now, and creative culture in San Francisco is disappearing. It's not in danger of disappearing. It's disappearing. Venues are closing. A lot of my colleagues have been driven out. They can't afford it, and people are innovating less and less because it's so expensive. So our invite to the Medicis of the San Francisco Bay Area.
I mean, that's where the
Is
money for
to
this
get
comes
involved.
from, right? Like
Yeah.
we have these amazing artists that we've been working with to make this stuff, and we pay them for this, right? We pay all our performers what we can,
Right.
But we do the best we can. It's not much, but it's keeping people working. Like so many of our ensemble and artists are, we're grateful to them, and they're like, I don't get to do what I get to do when I work with you guys because I'm just surviving otherwise.
Because in Midwayville is in service to what we call a gold fire, and the gold fire is the expression of community spirit,
Yeah.
of altruism, of kindness, of getting involved with something and making it better than you found it, like contributing to the social good, like giving back in some way, so that it's like other people can enjoy it, and when we're gone,
Yeah.
Great. And that's why I'm so stoked you guys showed up, because I'm
Absolutely.
trying
for
to
having
do the
us.
same with media.
thank you.
I love to.
we're giving you a pendant.
Oh.
You're getting the storyteller.
Oh, wow.
Because you're telling stories here
I am
Yes.
telling stories.
with your medium.
we go.
You're getting a pendant
so
from the
proud.
Midway, from the Royal Order of
Of the
Jesters.
Midway.
the Jesters. Hear the trumpets.
I love it. I love it.
We'll roll up the red carpet
And
for you.
red carpet. I don't show up for anything less.
Of course.
Thank
So
you
we'll
much
see you
for
guys
having us.
soon. And everyone, stay tuned to Mystic Midway website, mysticmidway.com.
MidwayCom.
Signing off.
Cheers.